I have a pork loin on the smoker, and what better side to go with barbecue than coleslaw? So I like to do a vinegar base slaw with a little bit of honey and sriracha. Real good. Crisp, punchy, balances out the heaviness of the smoked meat. And I'm going to show you how I do a fine julienne. And I kind of go like this because it's not going to be completely even in length, as you'll see, but you're working with a round object and I'm not cooking it. As long as it bites nicely, it doesn't all have to be perfect. And I'm going to do this with one of my everyday drivers. This is the Yoshikane 6.5 inch, 165 millimeter Shirogami number 2 carbon steel Bunka. We have stainless steel cladding and a Nashiji finish coming in at a 62 to 63 Rockwell. This is hand forged and you can see the spine has a nice taper to it and it is rounded right here at the pinch grip and all throughout, so it is very comfortable for long prep sessions. And this has an octagonal ebony wood handle that is unfinished. So this is one that you would want to hit with some mineral oil every couple of months. I love this blade. I use it all the time. And usually with a larger product like this, you would think it'd be much better to use a bigger knife. You can see that the length of the blade itself is basically the size of this red cabbage. Let's dive in. I usually wash everything that comes from the produce department. Now, when it comes to cabbage, it's a little bit different. Could you rinse everything? Sure, you could. I don't go that crazy with this, but I do peel all of the exterior layers, at least 2 deep, I would say, because you don't know who's touching your stuff at the grocery store. Come on. I usually like to wear gloves when I'm doing this too, but for the sake of not having the glove slip while on camera, gosh, this is not coming off very easily. Come on, let's go. Looking good. Okay, let's get this over here, out of the way. Anyway, if you're worried about this staining your board, a couple washes and you'll be good to go. Okay, first thing we're going to do, if you haven't done it already, 2 things. 1, give it a spank and remove the base of the root. Now, the last thing you want to do with a higher Rockwell carbon steel Japanese blade is just push through super hard when you are cutting something much larger like this. That will suddenly sometimes just give and your knife just goes. So what I like to do is just get into it and then just kind of rock it down. Nice little, not a hard all the way through. It's just little things like that that will help you save your edge. Now we're going to go into a 1/4. I could go a little bit more into a normal push there because it is half the amount of friction and surface area and less of that denser core. So it's not going to be as damaging, potentially damaging to the blade. It's not that the blade can't handle it, but you come in at a tiny little bit of an angle, no good. Perfect. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just trim off the dense core of the cabbage. Sometimes you can see there's a little extra depending on exactly where you cut it. It's not that that right there isn't usable. You can use it, but when you're cutting it like this, it's easier to get rid of. Notice how I'm moving the product around, where it was in the center. One went, I believe, on this side, split it again. Then they came over here and now I'm trimming them and I'm moving them again. There's this flow that you can get with product and it's going to be unique to you and it's going to vary based off of what you're doing. But it's things like that of moving product around and getting into just this, it moves with your hands, with your blade. It's hard to explain until you really get going with it and you are paying attention to it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to eighth. The reason I'm eighthing now at this point is because I was able to remove the bits of the core in 4 cuts instead of 8. So I kind of just saved myself a little bit of time. Not a ton, but again, it's kind of that mindfulness flow of having fun on your board. Okay. Now, this is where I now have a smaller, thinner, more stabilized product so that I am not trying to cut a big quarter piece that is now nearly twice the height. It's on a curve, so it's not exactly twice like that. But now I can come up into my tap or push and have more control over my blade, and it is much more stable. Now, as you can see, this kind of has a curvature to it right here. And then the stuff in the center is all zigzagged and wobbly and turns and loop-de-doop-dees. So you don't really have to worry about what direction you're cutting the center as much as this, let's say, outer half. So I'm going to turn this and kind of work with it as I'm going through. Here we go, push chop. Little turn. Now, as I turn right there, you think, okay, well, if I'm cutting this at this angle, it's going to be uneven. No, it's not, because there's all these layers. So it doesn't matter if I go from here to there to here to there. The width of my cut is relatively uniform. There's going to be a couple oddballs here and there. It's cabbage. It's slaw. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm getting into a tap chop there. And some of you may have noticed or heard missed hits. Well, at the same time that there's a missed hit for a tap chop where I'm keeping rhythm, I'm moving my hand. So I'm going to use the back of the blade here. As you're going down, if you need to move your hand and restabilize, just keep the rhythm going when you're doing a tap chop, and it flows better. I'm in this like feng shui flow talk today. Now, here, if I plop this down, it's not going to matter because it's all about the thinness. Some of these are longer, some of these are thinner. A couple of them are a little bit wider, but again, this is a uncooked product that is going to be texturally different in a good way. When you have cooked product that is texturally different, some are undercooked and some are overcooked and some are perfectly cooked, that to me, not that great. But for something like this that's raw and mostly uniform, you're good to go. Just gonna go out of here and keep my mouth shut. I'm getting pieces stuck on this side of the blade, and it's pushing, you can see these wider chops there. It pushed my blade over as I'm going through there. So I can kind of just come through here, boop, boop, boop. No big deal. When it gets high and not as wide, it's a little bit more unstable. Slow her down a bit. I forgot to bring another bowl up here for my chopped product, and I've got it from my discard. Okay, this right here, this is just kind of an example of the different layers of cabbage. So if you were to be cutting it exactly a perfect julienne, you would see that you're going to get a different thickness regardless. So that's why another reason that I like to do a much thinner, fine julienne type of cut when I'm doing cabbage. If you have a mandolin and you decide you want to use a mandolin for this, I don't blame you. It is easier and it's faster. Not as fun. And it's very dangerous. Mandolins, man, they grab a hold of some fingernails and it's not good. I would recommend, if you do decide to use a mandolin for something like this, get yourself one of those protective gloves. Horror stories. Okay, here we go. Taller up, less stable in a way, because I'm coming up so high. So to have that aim to come right down, it's just slow down a little bit. Get into a push. And that right there as well, when you have those outer layers that are a bit loosey-goosey, that can get very dangerous. So slow her down. Now, if you really want to just get these cut up nice and thin, and now you can come in and put that flat. Notice with this Yoshikane, that very end there, I did not do a rock. This is not exactly the rock chop type of blade. It's very fine and just would not recommend it. Okay, I am going to do one more. I don't think you guys need to see an entire cabbage going here. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll just stop talking for a minute here. Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to do this one the other way around this time. It's interesting. It's easier for the tap, but I don't like it for the push when it gets higher up right there. That loose piece, get it out of the way. Don't try and restack something like that. End up hurting your little fingers. Almost done. If in a month from now you see a video and this board is still dyed, then I was wrong. That one's real loose. Let's go for it. So there you have it. That is doing a fine-ish Julienne with some red cabbage for slaw, with some fresh purple hands, using the Yoshikane Shirogami No. 2 carbon steel 6.5 inch 165 millimeter Bunka stainless clad Nashiji finish and ebony wood octagonal handle. I'm Chef Brandon with CutleryMore.com. Thanks for tuning in. And if you'd like to get your hands on this Yoshikane, it'll be linked below. Take care.